All right. So here we are on Zoom Saturday Night Live. And where
Yeah.
do you want to be? We're here with special
Was
guest
this?
John.
I would have had a sound check on. I forgot. No theme music.
Yeah. Awesome, John. So maybe you want to share a little bit about your background, how you grew up a bit and how you came to find Master Fast eventually and so on and so forth. You want to give a little bit of that history?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think I was a mistake. They told me I was a mistake. Or an accident. I was an accident.
No
I'm the
such thing.
youngest of two. I'm the youngest of three, two older sisters. I literally grew up in the restaurant business. So my grandparents started an Italian restaurant in Framingham, Massachusetts called La Cantina. And so since the day I was born, I pretty much hung out in that restaurant. In retrospect, now looking back at myself when I was a young kid, I never used to go to the bathroom. It was always a problem for me to go to the bathroom. And in some of the old pictures, like on the beach, I'm bloated. And I say now that if my digestion was any worse, I would have been autistic. I didn't have dyslexia, but I know my dad, I had made this painting for him and I signed it Naj and he put it in his office. So like I never lived that one down. And I was very quiet. I didn't talk till I was almost 3 years old.
Really?
Yeah. My oldest sister is not the same dad, but my younger sister is 18 months apart, Jennifer and Jonathan. So we're a lot alike. And she used to talk for me. So I would point and she would talk. And it took me a while to I'm a lefty. And it took me a while to learn how to tie my shoes, weird stuff, but very docile. I was raised by women. My dad was always working. And so that was that. Decent upbringing, small town. I wasn't a tough kid at all. So I didn't really fit in because everybody played football and blah, blah,
Both
blah. Ended up going.
Your whole heritage is Italian?
No, thankfully, no, only half. My father's 100%. My mother is German, Irish, Scottish, and Polish, I think.
Okay.
So I'm a mutt. I got the last name. So and I'm actually thankful for that because I have so many different experiences and connections, and I don't like the closed-mindedness of being 100% of anything, whether it be a group or anything. So growing up was okay. I never really excelled in school, but I mean I did fine. I think I placed second in a spelling bee with Marty Boudreau, which was like a big deal in 5th grade. But that's like all I remember about. I never really liked sitting at a desk. I was friends with everybody. I was a social butterfly, but I didn't really excel in that. I would rather joke around and make people laugh than learn something that's 50 years old in a book. So high school was really cool, but I don't know what happened. I went to 7 schools from 8th grade to freshman year in college, and I never moved. So I left that little public school in 88, 89. I ended up going to this private school for 2 years, which was unbelievable, called Fay. And I still have unbelievable friends from that experience. And it was like going to college as a young kid. It's phenomenal. The people I went to school with, it was crazy. So then I went to Marion, which is I grew up Jehovah's Witnesses, a Jehovah's Witness. When my father had Jen and I, he wanted better for us, and a Jehovah's Witness happened to be next to him. So he went that. I never got baptized, but as a kid, I used to color in the meetings and stuff. So then in high school, my parents got divorced. I moved in with my father, and that was mayhem because he got thrown out of the religion, and he was 19 and I was 17. So he was dating his wife at the current time. When he would leave, I lived above the restaurant with him. So when he would leave, I knew he wasn't coming home. And I would be like, Fran, Billy, Fanny's is the basement of the restaurant. So I was drinking. When I was 4, he would give me the end of the wine when we went out for dinner. And I remember being at the El Morocco and driving home and having the hiccups because he would give me all the rest of the wine. So I don't know what happened. I got thrown out of the Catholic school. They were like, listen, if you don't, I think I failed Spanish like 3 times, Spanish 2, 3 times, and by whatever. So they put this like, they made this deal with me that if I got 1 F, they would throw me out. So I failed Spanish, went to another school, and I just kept, it was all local schools. And then it was like, you know what? I'm so sick of school. It seemed like I'd been there for years. So I dropped out of high school. I just went and got my GED. And then I went to Cape Cod Community College for like a few months. Like I used to always start out organized and neat and everything else. And then by like a month and a half, you could see where I'm starting to doodle and not pay attention and just like, so now I think at that time I started working for my dad full time. And it was like, he basically turned me into like, he's like, okay, you can use my desk and this is a life insurance thing. We're going to get you. And I had like, it was like, I don't know what it was. He was like grooming me to be him, which I already knew anyway. I mean, that's how I was raised. So I think we got in a fight, or I was fired. I think I got fired at like 19. So my mom, after they got divorced, Jen went to school down in North Carolina, and my mom decided to move down there. So I lived in Charlotte for a few years in my 20s and absolutely loved it. I felt great. But like everybody else, when you know, any bullshit hit, I went back to the old thinking, and I was like, I'll never amount to anything. I should just go back to La Cantina, blah, blah, blah. So I did. And I was basically the kitchen manager in my early 20s, and I brought my girlfriend from North Carolina up, but I turned into an asshole. I worked 65 hours a week.
Wow.
And then if I got aggravated at all with Jen, I would be like, Dad, I want to work every day this week. But Jen was my girlfriend too, not my sister. So I basically worked constantly. And then on my days off, sometimes I would come in to clean because we were so busy that we couldn't clean stuff. I remember one year on Christmas, I showed up to clean the ovens. Like being someone who loves me in my life must have been like, what an asshole. So I think I ended up going back to the restaurant, and it was the same old thing. Like, okay, this is going to be yours. And it was good. It was all good, but I wasn't living. I didn't really know how to live. All I knew how to do was party, but I was really good at it. You know, I wasn't
an expert.
Are you guys laughing at me?
No, you're an expert at party.
Yeah. I mean, I was trained in it, you know what I mean? And I think I have fairly good organs. So I would like sweat it out. And I think that if I hadn't cooked in my 20s, I would have gone nuts, or what they call nuts, earlier. So at 24, I went on a big cruise with like 14 people. And I literally I woke up, you know, I was kind of like, what am I doing with my life? It was like, I don't even know. It was unbelievable. It was the best time of my life. And, the stories. So I got I think that was I got a tattoo. I got a really intimidating tattoo. And all it means, that's all I have. All it means is proud. And I got it from my father because I decided on those 7 days that I was leaving the restaurant. So I got home and I had a meeting with Dad, and I sat down in his office and I was like, Dad, I love you. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I got to go. So he's in shock, kind of. And he's like, he talked to my best friend. He's like, is John doing coke? And I never got into any of that stuff. I was always a pothead and a drinker. That's about it. And shrooms I like. So I came in, I think one day, and he's like, come here, boy. Still calls me boy. So he's like, he's like, I'm going to give you a week to decide if this is what you want to do or not. I'm 24 years old. He's like, and so of course me, brought up by him, I get pissed off, and I already made my decision. Like, I'm out. So at that time I had the energy that you feel on Master Fast System, but it wasn't controlled at all. And it was short-lived because I would obviously burn myself out. For me, it was like 3 or 4 months of awesomeness and then double that in recovery. So when I got home from that cruise, it was awesome for like 3 or 4 months until I ran out of money. And then I went into a depression. And that's when I got prescribed lithium, and you're bipolar and you have a chemical imbalance. You'll have it for the rest of your life. So it was like an excuse to be half what I could be. So my dad, you know, it took a long time to like talk to my dad again, and he like took me back. And then I kept something else happened. I think I got fired again. I never really agreed with the medicine. I never took as much as I could. And so this is at like 24. I kept drinking until like 28 on lithium. So I was 220 pounds. I looked terrible. I was bloated and just like, like everybody else though. I mean, everybody around there is either in the local area, it's Budweiser, and it's veal parm, it's spaghetti and meatballs, it's whatever, it's protein, it's fat, it's dude,
Right. Yeah.
that's all it is, So, geez, I don't know. Then I at 28, now this is like, there's so many stories in between here. There's like there's three times where I've pretty much lost everything. And then at like around in my 30s, I went and opened a restaurant down in Boston, and in Naples, Florida. And I was fine. I was on lithium, but I didn't take as much as I was supposed to. And I take my blood tests, and it was terrible. So every once in a while I would drink like I used to. And I have a few blackout stories now from that, but they're good ones. I mean, I'm fine from it. You know what I mean? I walked away.
You opened the restaurant on your own?
No, it was a restaurant group. It's called the Boston Restaurant Group, and they're from New England, but they opened one in Naples, and I happened to like meet these guys. And I was the first. I was like I didn't never call myself a chef back then. I call myself a raw food chef now, but that's because of the love I put into it. So I was the kitchen manager, the opening kitchen manager there. So, and like I love the business for the movement of it, but I don't like working in the kitchen 16 hours a day and being in that environment. It's like Eckhart Tolle, put him behind the line at La Cantina for a weekend and see, you know what I mean? Like, I can't wait for us to, like, healers. We're going to heal. I already help healers because they haven't healed. They just go into their little environment and they're comfortable. But if you go back into the old, it's the same thing, So, so at 28, I was back down in Charlotte living there because I always felt the freedom away. But the way I was brought up as whoever I was, most people think I'm crazy for walking away from what my father has grown. But I also know that my father is such a weirdo. Sorry, Patty, if you watch this, I think he's going to have it when he passes away. He's going to have it sold because he took so much pride in his mother and love that he wouldn't want anything to happen to it. And he's so old school with you got to be hands-on and work your what's off or you're a bum, that it just doesn't work for me and him. And I have so many ideas. I'm so creative, but he'd always say no. And then like a year later, he'd like think of it, like typical owner, but he's been doing it for 57 years. He started when he was 22 years old.
And he's still
my grandfather was going to burn the place down. He was nuts. And my dad was like, he was overseas he got drafted. So he's like, Dad, whatever you do, don't sell the liquor license. So my dad comes home from the Army, opens up a nightclub called Help for the Beatles. And my dad's a maniac. So that was short-lived. He's got a couple of really good stories for that. So he said, all right, fine, I'm going back to the food. He had the foresight back then to do it. So he started with 14 spots. Now he's got like 9 lots, function room, 200, it's a monstrosity.
What kind of restaurant is it?
Huh?
What kind of restaurant is it?
It's Italian.
Oh, it is Italian. Okay.
Yeah. Tripe on Saturdays, full loaf of French bread with a Budweiser and a bowl of tripe. That's how I used to eat. When him and I used to go out, I remember I got in trouble once and I had to go down the Cape for court. And him and I went down there. We went out for dinner. And I looked like a homeless kid, like holes in my sweatshirt and stuff. We go to this seafood restaurant down the Cape. And my dad is very humble and even to this day, he calls himself like a poor guy from the south side of Framingham by the tracks. So this waitress comes over and automatically I can already tell she's looking at us like we're scum, right? So she's going over the specials and she's like, so we have twin baked lobster for $44.99. And he goes, we'll take 2 of those. He just likes doing that kind of stupid stuff. So she's like, oh, okay. So we have that, right? Then we go to Friendly's, which is an ice cream spot, an older ice cream spot in New England. And they have a thing called the Jim Dandy. I think it's either 4 or 5 scoops of ice cream. It's two full bananas and well, whatever else, right? So we eat these things. And he looks over at me and goes, "You want to see how many we can eat?" And I'm like, ugh. So the waitress comes over and she's like, "Can I get you anything else?" And he goes, "Yeah, we'll take 2 more." And she's like, "You're kidding, right?" He's like, "No, we'll take 2 more." So he eats his and some more of mine. We go back to my grandmother's little trailer and we're literally like, we can't even move. We can't. And, so that's how I was brought up. Okay. Yeah. We didn't lack for food, but like my dad didn't, my dad actually, it's pretty cool because my dad stopped physical abuse in the family. I stopped alcoholism. But like food was always the go-to. Like he was, we talk about emotions and all that stuff. When I was, I think 3 or 4, he used to take a lot of pictures and he loved to laugh, but he didn't realize what he would do to us as little kids, just to get a laugh. So like he would put me in the kitchen with a bag of flour and open it up and tell me not to touch it and walk away. So then he'd come back in and there would be flour everywhere and he'd yell at me just to get what he used to call the moos. It was my funny cry face, I guess. So it's like, it's hilarious what we do to each other. We don't even realize it. So basically the culmination of all this was at 28 years old in North Carolina, I beat a DUI in court on St. Patrick's Day. And at the time I was a mortgage broker, an unsuccessful one. And we had one of the banks decided to take us out to lunch. So we all start drinking Patron for some reason. This girl's like, "I got the best tequila." And so we start drinking shots of Patron. And like, I'm a pro, but these people aren't. And I'm like leaving and going and smoking weed and we all decide to go to another bar. The last thing I remember is some girl, like I'm against the Golden Tea Machine and she's unbuttoning my shirt. And that's the last thing I remember. And then the blue lights. I got a DUI that night. I beat one in court and I got one that night. And I woke up the next morning so pissed off at myself that I just quit. Totally quit. And I was lucky that I was away from home.
It's a blackout event.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not even a good one. That's nothing. That's like nothing happened. Like I'm lucky, nothing happened. But in all of my chaos and all of my mayhem, I have no felonies, no violence. My accidents are I'm alone, For me, it was always caring too much about others, and I still suffer from this. But I'm getting better at allowing, like the Master Fast totally opened me up to that. I'm actually allowing things to come in now. Like I used to describe myself like Michael Clark Duncan in The Green Mile. He takes people's sickness, and I would always I always thought everybody told everybody what they told me. So when I was younger, I'd be like, "Oh my God, so-and-so, what happened with the thing?" And they're like, "Dude, nobody else," and I didn't realize that people actually talk to me, like I can get more out of them because I'm so honest. Yeah. So that was it. I reached the point where I was like, I'm all done. And my old man's like, "Just come back." I'm like, "Dad, I'm going to have a suspended. He's just come back. You get your license up here. No big deal." So that's what I did, and there's more to it. And then, of course, the way it is now, everything catches up to you. So a few years later, when I'm in Florida at this point, that suspended license from North Carolina finally connected. So I got arrested in Florida, and it ended up being a 3-week stint in this place called the David Lawrence Center, which is the psych ward down there. And it's like the best story ever. I was in a good place when I went. I thought I was getting arrested. And I was like literally in tears in the back of the squad car, not for me, but for my parents, because Florida's different. You got to get a bail bondsman. It's such a project, getting arrested. So I was pissed at myself for just not avoiding them this time. And so I thought I was getting arrested. And when they pulled into this place and like undid the cuffs, and this woman in a green dress was like, "Hi, how are you?" I was like so like relieved. And they it was unbelievable. I was just so excited I didn't get arrested. So they Baker acted me, which is like a 72-hour observation. And in America, I think every state has it. I probably shouldn't tell people this, but if you're worried about somebody that they're going to hurt themselves or someone else, a neighbor can call you in, and they basically come and grab you and they watch you for 72 hours.
Really?
Unless it's sick. It's sick.
Flavor.
And unless some of the people now we're in South Florida at this time, right? So some of the guys that came in there, one guy was literally chased by the helicopters, and he was running through the woods, and he gets in there and he's like, oh yeah, I did too much cocaine, and I have a business I have to get back to. So they're like, all right, cool. And they just let him go. It's like, what? It's crazy. So I'm there for 3 days. They don't tell you anything. I'm not even going to get into the story because it's hilarious. I'm going to write the whole thing down. But long story short, when I walked into the doctor's office for the first time, I looked at him and I said, are you an honest man? And he goes, get out of my office. So I'm like, okay. Because I refused, I mentioned that I wasn't on anything at this time because I felt great. So I mentioned I was on lithium, I think. And so they kept trying to give me lithium. So it was like medication time, and they'd be like, John, I'm like, okay, thanks. Yeah. And I wasn't crazy or anything. So it was fine. They couldn't like force me to do anything. So it was just an incredible time. And then a day later, they had me go to the other doctor and the same thing. And I said, are you an honest man? And he threw me out of his office. So then, and at this point, I'm already like friends with everybody in there. I got this guy, George, who's on 6 medications. These people are so friggin' smart, but the people around him can't handle him. Like this one kid's mother was an alcoholic. So she put him in a psych ward because he wanted to be an author like Stephen King, and he was the nicest kid in the world. He was like Fozzie on the Muppets. Like he'd wake up in the morning and he couldn't even took him a while to straighten his eyes out from all the medications.
Oh.
And then it's just because people don't know how to talk to the people who prescribe. So they're screwed, Like I could go in and get whatever I want right now, but it's not my, So the people and the stories I have just from that experience are phenomenal. And like, this is where I thought of the spanknife. I was gonna invent the spanknife because they don't trust us with knives in there. So we only get a knife and a fork. And they give you apples. And the older ladies that were in there, some of them, I swear this woman was extremely wealthy. I think she was the owner of a chain. And her sons who took it over, like kids, people, they just put their parents in there because they don't want to deal with them, even if they have tons of money down in Naples, Florida. So the ladies every day before dinner, I would go in the bathroom and wash my hands and everything. And the ladies knew that at dinner. So they couldn't bite into the apples. So I would use my thumbs and crack their apples for them so they could bite into them and stuff. And it made me think of the spanknife. So a 3-in-1. Then we got the spork. Why not the spanknife? So that was a while. That was when I was like 32, 33. And again, it was stupid. And my dad always wants to protect me. So he makes me come home. And I'm like, oh, I hated that. And I have a lot of great friends. I love people there, but I don't like the energy of it. I don't like I have to be a Mencoboni up there, and I'm John, So at 35, now I haven't had a drink. I quit drinking at 28, and I hadn't had a drink in a long time. And then I did 14 years no drinking. And then it gets good. It gets really good with the drinking. So at 35, I think, I had gone out, and I like to socialize. So when I first quit drinking, before I realized what detoxing was, I subbed liquor with Red Bull. So I would pound like 7 or 8 Red Bull a night when I'd go to the bar, and I could still sleep on it. I wouldn't allow myself the big ones because it was too much, but I would pound a single one and then wait an hour and pound another one, So, and for all intents and purposes, people look at me and they're like, oh, what do you know about pain? Or what do you know about, or you're so lucky you can eat whatever you want. They don't get it, I wish I could I wish that my genetic line showed heaviness or fat, because it would tell me. Nobody ever asked me if I was going to the bathroom. Nobody ever asked me how my diet was, any of it, it's crazy. So at 35, completely sober, I hit a telephone pole at like 55 miles an hour.
Oh, that's that picture you showed, yeah.
Yeah, I had a Dodge Hemi, and I wailed. Now, I was with someone else who was a drinker, an old friend, and I still go to the bars. And so I was hanging out with Jovan. He's in the group. And then I don't know why. We went to my house to do bong hits. Sorry, I don't know how this is, but I'm being real. So then it was late, and I'm like, Joe, why don't you drive? I feel like going separate. I don't know why. I just felt like I like to be alone a lot of times. So we're driving down this road by my mother's house, and it's very windy, and it's a really dangerous road. It's in a town called Milford, Massachusetts. So it's raining out. I need tires on my truck, and it's a beast, and I've beaten this thing for years. And it saved me on a few other occasions too. So I look back and I see him in the rearview mirror, and I'm thinking, how is he right behind me? Because I've always been high energy. So I hit it. I hit the gas without really knowing it. And when I looked up, I was going way too fast for the curve, and I knew I was going to crash. So and I rolled over 3 times, almost broke my neck at like 24, 25. 2 telephone poles, 2 or 3 deer, a lot of stuff.
Jeez.
So yeah, pretty good ones too. So motorcycles. Oh, I was trying to do a burnout one time, Gino, on a summer night, and all the oil was on the road, and I literally smashed myself against the asphalt on my motorcycle.
Oh.
Like, ugh. So and my nickname was Boner, or is Boner, because of my last name. So they call me Boner Knievel, Bonafiable. Like, I have, it's hilarious. So, where was I? We're on the telephone pole. Yeah. So for a split second, I thought, all right, I'll punch it and spin the truck around to the right, but that's going into the road, and there's a curve right there, and I'm thinking of other people, even though it's 2 a.m. So then there's rocks on the left if I go in sideways, and I didn't want to go in sideways. So I'm like, I'll just hit the telephone pole dead. I didn't even hit the brakes, I don't think. So I just wailed it. I was like a crash dummy. Wailed it. And both airbags blow. I had a tank top on and like shorts and flip-flops. And there's smoke everywhere. I put the thing in park, and I get out the passenger side, and all this stuff had blown out into the road, like restaurant racks and stuff that I had in the back. So I immediately start picking stuff up out of the road. And I look at Jovan, who just kind of pulled up, and he's in absolute shock, like more shock than I was, because he had a couple drinks too. So he's like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." I'm like, "Joe, get out of here." And he's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I got this." So he takes off. I clean the road up. A neighbor shows up, because it happens there a lot, and he's got a flashlight, and he's like, "Where's the driver?" And I'm like, "You're looking at him." And he's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I think so." I'm looking at myself. So then 2 cops show up, and they know my family, and they know me and my dad, and they know I don't drink. So again, they're like, "Where's the driver?" And I'm like, "It's me. You're looking at him." "You all right?" "Yeah." So they're like, "How fast?" They're like, this town, Milford's like still old world. So they're like, "All right, well, obviously you weren't going this fast, but we gave you a ticket for this," and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, "All right, cool. Thanks, guys." So they drive me home. It's like a quarter of a mile home. I'm drinking at this time. I had already given up drinking. So I'm drinking Martinelli's and eating strawberries at the time. And right around that time, I think I was trying to eat around 5,000 calories a day, because I didn't want to look too thin as a vegetarian. So I was building muscle that way.
What?
Of raw foods.
So a lot of
plant-based proteins. Yeah, a good amount of fat. And I love super smoothies with all kinds of, the raw stuff. I love it. I have a wicked sweet tooth. And so, so that was that. A month later, I was shoveling, and I couldn't move. I couldn't walk. I've never had so I went to the doctor to get pain pills or something. And I've never even gotten them from her. Like, I've never had a pain issue at all with painkillers or anything. And she wouldn't give it to me. And then she got my x-ray back, and it was Halloween, or it was Thanksgiving 5 years ago. 6. And she left a script on her door when she left, because I had like pieces of bone on my L5, and I don't know if I shattered it, but it was like a lysectomy and a dissectomy and all this. So I went in for surgery. And I didn't want surgery, because I knew better. I remember the old times when you have a 17-inch scar and She actually did a really good job. The pain after the surgery was actually more than before.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. And right away the next day they go, okay, now we want you to get up and walk over to the door. And I go, fuck you. Like, I was like, no, because you're so, you're so wobbly. It's like, yeah, I don't know. So I was on my mother's floor, absolutely miserable, on painkillers, just whatever. Okay, this is it. I finally got on disability at this point. And even after all the times where I was like on the couch for 6 months in my life, I never got on disability in the past. I don't know. I made my mother struggle because she's, whatever. So I read something that said environment trumps motivation. Now, during this whole time, I'm reading Eckhart Tolle, Wayne Dyer, everybody. I've read a bunch of stuff over the years, but it never really clicked until I got on Master Fast. And it seems like everything that I've learned is just there already. It's amazing. So I read a quote that said environment trumps motivation. And I reconnected with a buddy that I was friends with down in Naples, Florida, and he was going through a divorce. He had moved to Anna Maria Island, which is 7 miles long. It's very quaint on the west coast of Florida. And I said to myself, I'm either going to kill myself. I wanted to move away to do it. And I said, I'm either going to kill myself or figure this out. So I moved down there, and I started watching Netflix, and I watched Food Matters, and I had all these cavities in my mouth. And that's what got me Food Matters really clicked for some reason.
That's
And then
that's when you started going better eating?
It wasn't even, yeah, well, I started looking at all the diets and, Atkins and this and that and all that. And then I'm like, it makes the most sense to go 100% raw. It makes the most sense, live food. So I started juicing once a day, and I was eating raw all day long. I was just eating. Different than, it would be like.
How long ago was this?
This is 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
5 years ago, right after the back surgery.
Yeah.
So I started to detox. Like, the amount of stool that was coming out of me at that time, it was like, these things looked like Russian subs. It was like, I'm like, where is this stuff coming from? And I was only like 170 at this time, because the quitting drinking right away leaned me out, So it was phenomenal. And the first 3 days was hard because of the Red Bull and the sugar. And boy, I had migraines for a few days, and it was pretty crazy. So that alone, after like a couple months, I started doing like this Arnold Schwarzenegger workout twice a day. And I was going to the beach every day and reading Wayne Dyer, Excuses Be Gone. And I felt unreal. So much energy. So I ended up buying into, someone called me from home, and they had this country club where I could incorporate I was going to go raw. I was going to, I've always been too quick in my life. And I'm like, this is it. I'm running with it. So I was going to be like Dan the Man and Christina and all those guys, and just live in Hawaii and do videos and stuff. But I like people too much. So that was awesome. I ended up going home, and I bought into this little place, and it was okay. It was good. But my partner had never owned a business before, and he had an ego, and he started putting his feet up, and he was the boss now. And it's just like, oh God, please. So someone called me from Florida who was in California, and he had 2 farms out there with medicinal, and he needed someone to help him. So I was like, all right, if I do this, I'll have enough money. I'm a pain in the ass like my old man, where I want help, but I won't take help. I need it even if I need it. So I was like, if I go out and do this, I'll have enough money to open Johnny Bananas on my own. And I think because of my ego, I needed to do it there to prove to everybody that I'm normal or whatever the hell it is, in that.
What? A restaurant?
What's that?
Johnny Bananas?
Yeah, I wanted to open my first Johnny Bananas up around that area, because I know a lot of people, but I'm trying to convince people who don't know they even need help, and it's all my own old emotional crap. So I go back. Of course, it doesn't end up being the way it's supposed to, but I unplugged out there like never before. I was on 5 acres by myself with a German Shepherd, Callie, who I loved, who I took home. I knew about food, so even though I was on disability, I bought her raw food for $225 a month, which was turkey. It was the best, like Darwin's, unbelievable, organic vegetables, phenomenal stuff. And then I would walk 3 miles to get her a 40-pound bag of dog food and huff it back because I wasn't feeding her enough. She was eating the peaches that were falling on the ground. She was so lean. And then at that time I was doing like Robert Cassar and like I was raw, but I was doing the superfoods. So spending a ton of money on fulvic acid, living silica, all that. And I felt pretty good, but I still wasn't there, you know? So I went home and it just wasn't the right time. And then of course my dad's finally like, oh, you can use the kitchen upstairs to put your blenders and stuff. And so I'm like, all right, that was so short-lived. And I ended up going back to work at the restaurant full time. And I was like, and he's like, why don't you be the kitchen manager? And I'm like, Dad, I don't want to eat this effing food. He didn't get it. So I'm working for guys who you know what I mean? I was in an environment where it's so high stress and my old man stresses everybody else out and I'm feeling it. Like I cut my hand right there with the slicer like 6 months ago. I've never done that before in my life. I've never had a bad cut. And I was like, I know I'm not supposed to be here. My brain isn't even here. So I actually did the Morse 14-week protocol before I took the course or whatever.
How long was that?
I did the 14-week.
No, how long ago?
I guess 2 years ago, maybe. But I would go all day fine. And then I was cooking at La Cantina. So at the end of the night, I'd get a side of risotto and go and eat it on the way home just because I'm miserable and like go to the bathroom and like, you know, and that's when I got into turpentine, you know, the Daniel stuff and all that. So then I was like, again, I help people. I'm helping this guy from Greece who I got over here. And it's like, he's a computer guy. So he does my apps for Johnny Bananas and he's doing all kinds of stuff to help, but it all hasn't come together yet. So, I have these people who I'm still trying to help and I gotta refill my cup up again. That's why I want to go back on the fast. So, where am I at? Sorry. I'm kind of losing my.
Well, you went to go back to the restaurant. You're doing what you don't want to be doing. You cut your hand.
Right. So Greece is horrible, as you know. So Spiros had to go back there. And then I have a relative who was working at La Cantina, but he's a miserable person. And he's my dad's age, but he never really, you know, they have different ways of thinking. So his brother had a pizza place, and Spiros had a pizza place in Greece that he absolutely killed, like had 30 delivery drivers, like unbelievable. He learned to do all the marketing himself. So I was like, David, take over Paul's place. I'll give you the money. Because when I'm at La Cantina, I have a little bit of money. I was working under the table too while I was on disability. So it gave me a little bit of a way to get away. Okay. Or pull the trigger for whatever it was I wanted to do. So I end up getting Spiros. I'm like, David, just do it. I'll help you do it. And I'll get Spiros over here to run it. You can walk around, do whatever you want, do the prep, whatever you want to do. I'm a maniac when it comes to cleaning and stuff like that. Like I'll put headphones in and just kill it. I love physical labor. So Spiros is helping him out. David's cleaning up. I get a dumpster. I change the locks. I'm doing all this stuff because he says I can't work in this, that his brother ran forever. I'm scraping the walk-in coolers. I worked at La Cantina, I think, 70 hours that week or something crazy or more. And then I did 37 hours over at David's place because I can. And we get it all cleaned up. This is back in like February of this year. And David goes, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. And I'm so pissed off that I said, you know what? F everybody else. I got to get out of here. I got to do it myself. And the only opportunity I thought I had was this kid, Jeffrey Pena, who opened up a juice bar because of me a couple of years ago. Because I used to get all my produce for the week for like $80, eating a lot from the Marysville Flea Market out in North Cali. And I met the Penas his parents have a fruit stand. So he's like, Johnny, think I should open a juice bar? And I'm like, yeah, do it. So he did. And then I did his superfood menu and stuff like that for him. So he's been trying to get me out there for the last 4 years. And then I didn't think I had any options. So I'm like, screw it. I'm out of here. And I left. And I came down here to Atlanta just to visit my mother Georgia, because she retired down here because of that poor mentality she's now lacking in her life. So I came down to visit, and then the Oroville Dam was overflowing out there. was a major drought in California for a lot of years. They seeded, they did all that stupid stuff. Now they're getting so much rain, it's unbelievable. So close to where I was headed, the Oroville Dam, which is the second largest in the U.S., it's 900 feet tall. The overflow started going. Then the overflow started breaking. Then the main dam broke because too much water. It was crazy. So they evacuated 100,000 people. So I'm like, all right, I'm on a holding pattern right now. Then I got on the Master Fast system, and I don't even know how I found it. I've been trying to think of it. I don't know how I found it. I really don't. If anyone who's listening or watching, like if you told me about it, I don't know where it came from. So I did it. I started doing it, and like within 4 days. When was it?
Yeah, what month when you started?
I started, I ended, I think May 6th was when I ended, and I think it was either 50, I think it was 56 days. So I started on, I got a little, this is my March. I started March 10th. Oh, the herbs are up. I started the 11th, March 11th. And I started at 156. And then, you know, I got down, it was really good. I didn't have that really, it was pretty good. I mean, there are a few weird things. Like I woke up from a nap one day and my armpits were burning from the acids.
Wow.
What else? I have had 3 knee surgeries, 2 ACLs and meniscus. So that's been giving me some pain. Little stuff on the dry fast where I did that slicer accident, it goes total black and blue on a good dry fast. So I did like 56. And then this girl who I used to know in Florida calls me and she's like, I have a weird thing to ask. And now this girl, I'm really weird with girls. I don't like to date. I don't like when people get too, most people think love is possession, and I don't. If somebody ever stops me, I'm going to have a beautiful family. I know that, but she's got to be unbelievable, and she's got to be extremely confident and not need me, but want me, you know? So I've never really dated. I dated that girl for 9 years in my 20s, but that was about it. And then I don't like to hurt people. And if it's not the right thing, I don't just have sex. You know, it's just so much more to it than that. I want so much more out of it. So I never really date, you know? And for me, I'm very fast with a lot of things, and people slow me down. So like with my business now in the future, like people who are working with me, I want them to go on the Master Fast because I know they're going to suck if they don't. Like, it's just such a huge difference. It's amazing what happens to your brain, you know? Because I've never had this. I've always had intellect, or I don't know what it is, but I could never, like if I was on my phone trying to do something, I'd get distracted and not do it. And then after the first, I don't know what it was, but I said this too, in like 10 days on the Master Fast, I got more organized than I had in the last 10 years. It's incredible, you know? And like everybody else, you want to tell everybody that you want to save the world and all that, but you really have to wait. Like, I'm lucky enough to know what the energy is, so I'm not freaking out with that. But this girl called me and she's like, I have a weird thing to ask. And I knew her 10 years ago. She was attracted to me back then, but I could hang out with girls without having to have them, you know? I have girlfriends. So, that's 10 years ago. So a year ago or 2 years ago, she puts this post up and she's up in Boston and she already had her thyroid removed. And I went in to see her almost every day, right? I would just do the commute and whatever. I hung out with her. And so skip ahead to now with what I've been doing, you know, I got certified and everything else. And I was going to do the health coach thing and I'm doing it. But so she calls me up and she's like, I have a weird thing to ask. Can I come to your place for a month and heal? I need a place to heal. Now, I don't know if she just knew what to say or whatever, but I was like, okay. And now I'm struggling anyway. I don't even know how I'm doing this. I don't know how I got approved in this apartment. It's unbelievable. It's like a luxury apartment in Atlanta, the coolest neighborhood in the world, right? So I agree to this. And then I say to her, because I wanted ocean water, I'm like, you know what? Stay there. I'm going to come down and get you. So I go down On my way down, I leave my wallet in an Uber. So I get in 5 different Hertz rental cars. And they're like, oh, you have a paper wallet? Oh, you have a paper ID? You can't do it. Oh, you don't have a flight from the airport? You can't leave. Oh, you don't have a credit card? I got pissed at my credit card, so I canceled them both, or all of them, because I couldn't transfer or get money soon enough. So I'm like, what do I get out of you guys? And I canceled them. So now I'm screwed because you can't use a debit for a rental car. I ended up taking Megabus down. This is when I had the braids in my hair, right around when I became a Buddhist. So this little girl in front of me puts her gum on my seat, so I'm asleep. It gets in my brain. It's like the whole trip. I get down there. I know it now, but when people are toxic, especially, they don't know what's going on. They're not thinking clearly, especially if they have chemo and radiation in them. So she's got like, she knew she was coming a month ago. She doesn't even have her stuff packed. It was like, what's going on here? She's got friends have this, friends have that. It was the most uncomfortable environment when I get down there. I must have walked, because I couldn't do Uber or Lyft or anything. So I must have walked, no kidding, 100 miles, because I was doing about 10 miles a day. And I was trying to like reconnect with old friends and stuff. And the people I would run into somebody that I had great times with 10 years ago. And I'd be like, hey man, you remember the time we did that? And they're like, no. They seemed so burnt and so 2-for-1'd out that it was unbelievable.
Gone.
So I got to backtrack a little bit, because about 5 weeks ago, I thought I don't even know why. I decided to buy a scratch ticket, right? So I scratched this thing, and I thought I hit a $500,000 scratch ticket, right? I really did. It was unbelievable. And so I'm like, oh my God, it was like crazy. So I go to the strip club in Atlanta, right? Magic something. I get a bottle of champagne for like $450, right? And I have like a glass and a half. I didn't even like it. It tastes like shit. And I have it with like the waitress or whatever. So I go home, and the next day I'm talking to my buddy Fran out in Los Angeles. And I'm like, Fran, I'm like, look at this. Did I just win $500,000? And he looks at me and goes, Bone, I think you want a free ticket. So he was right. And so I went off the fast crappy because of everything that was going on. And then I started drinking again. And like, I'm a good drinker. It's not an issue, but I'm drinking again. And I'm like, I'm at the bar telling people I'm a regenerative detox coach. And then I just did a fast for, you know what I mean? It's hilarious. So I'm going back on it right now, but I'm running really low on herbs because I let this girl use my herbs, and she didn't even want to learn about the group or anything. It was crazy. She didn't want to heal. She wanted somebody to take care of her. And if I'm alone, I'm fine. I don't even know how I make it work, but I do, you know? But when you throw in all these other people, like, it was crazy. It was so draining. This is my first awesome environment of my life. This is the first time I'm making it home, you know? And so I was only 2 weeks in, and then I had her move in, and she's got a great dog that was a service dog with an underbite named George. But it was crazy. Like she was like, yeah, I'm going to quit. I'm already quitting smoking and all this. And she would just do like she made like these beads and stuff, but all she would do is sit there and do her beads all day. So I wouldn't even be home all day long. I'm just huffing. I'm like walking Atlanta, you know? I have a great tan and I'm in good shape. So I'm going back on it ASAP. I got down to 119 pounds when I did I think I did 56 days or 61 days. I got down to 119, and then I started to gain a little bit. Like I think I went up to 125, and then I went off the fast. I now weigh, I put on 47 pounds in 6 weeks. Like, that's insanity. Yeah, I'm 164 right now, and that's just because I've been like prepping for the next one. But that's, you know, and that's because I cleaned the mucoid plaque out of me, and I've been skinny most of my life except for the lithium and alcohol. So that's just because I cleaned myself out. So this time after I finish, I'm going to go clean, and I want to try to like get like an Adonis type body to show people how incredible you can look, and without, you know what I mean? That's it. I want to try to save some. I can't. I got to just help who wants to be helped. But I want to like show the general public
You gotta do it for yourself, John.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Yeah.
trying to help people. Yeah, if they want help, sure, bend over backwards. But
Yeah.
Do it for yourself. The best thing you can ever do is just to be an example.
Yeah.
I just, growing up, my dad was successful in his own way. And so he made me not take because I had. It's really weird. Like I remember one time I came home from school and I walked in the back of the restaurant and Poncho, one of the guys that prepped in the back, was riding home on his bike and he had a mattress on the back. And then there was one sitting on the ground. And I said, "Hey, Dad, that my mattress?" And he goes, "Yeah, Poncho needs it more than you do." Because Poncho started studying the Jehovah's Bible or whatever. So my dad gives him my bed. So I don't care. Like, that's how I was taught. Like, possessions don't mean shit,
Exactly.
So I decided to get a hammock, like a jerk. I'm in high school. I decided to get one of those metal framed hammocks. I sleep on my stomach. So I'm laying there, and upstairs the restaurant was like a big U. So my bedroom's right next to my dad's, and he can't sleep. And he gets pissed if he doesn't get sleep. So I'm literally laying there like I can't move. If I move at all, it clangs on the metal. So I'm laying. It lasted like 2 nights, But so once I don't know what happened, but once I got down here and everything I started doing the fast. I realized how affected I was by my mother, number one, who I've stayed with for a lot of my years, but she was enabling me to. And it really I realized I need my own environment. So at first, like my mom's in North Georgia. And at first I was thinking, all right, I'll get a cheap, I'm thinking poor. I'm like, I'll rent a house. I'll do this, I'll do that. And I'm like, you know what? Screw that. I'm going to go to a rich area, not for the money, but for the mentality. I'll sell my van, save $700 a month and get a really nice environment for myself. So I went down to Atlanta and I looked at this one place and they must have had the pictures from like 10 years ago when they opened, And so I'm like, I went in, I checked out the apartment. I'm like, it just didn't smell right, didn't look right. So then I come around the corner and there's 2 blocks and I see this place, the Walton, and it's like, I just walk in and I'm like, I walk in, they got Edison lights, everything else. The place is really chill. It's a privately owned complex. So I walk in and I'm like, I felt great. I was like, wow. And I'm like, I don't have an appointment, whatever. I get approved. I don't know how. I basically like make it up that, all right, I get the disability and I work for my dad. I work for Fannie's Original. I'm a coach and all this, and it worked. And so this place is unreal. I have a place. When I moved in, I'm like, can I get sunrise? And she's like, well, the only thing available is the goat farm, a view of the goat farm. And I'm like, goat farm, all right, whatever. I had goats out in Cali. The goat farm Georgia is one of the greenest cities in the country. And right across from my door at 4 PM, I hear the goats going and there's trees out my window. Here, look.
Nice, yeah.
So Georgia is apparently one of the greenest cities in the country, and this is owned by a nonprofit, and they never want it to change. So they actually filmed the Hunger Games here. They filmed The Walking Dead here, all these TV shows and stuff. I've walked into the coffee shop and like walked in on photo shoots. It's like LA at the South down here. It's hilarious what's going on. And like, I know it's from the fast that everything is set up for me. Like, I don't understand how he got this place. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. And like yoga I started doing yoga, I was doing yoga when I was on the fast. I need to get back into it, but it's like 2 minutes down the street. It's right there. Like, it's so cool. There's a detox place that once Johnny Bananas gets rolling, I'm going to blow him out of the water, but there's a juice place right around the corner. It's like walking, it's all walking distance. And the great thing is 24-hour security, So if I do end up like telling the wrong person that that we can help them, I have 24-hour security and stuff. It's like, I don't even lock my door. We have like these fobs and you have to use your fob to get through every door. It's awesome. There's no smoking on the property. It's just really cool how, I don't know how this stuff's happening. And I'm starting to finally realize that this is my life. And as much as I want everybody else to experience it, they can't. I have to find the people that are on that same level and grow with them, not the ones that are needy. And, I want to help. And I totally understand that fight or flight, before you go MFS. But it's like everybody else, like just do it and your life is going to change. You don't even know. You can't even explain how much it changes. I'm a magnet right now. It's unreal. Like I went to get a massage when I was doing the fast, and this girl's, I'm like, listen, this is going to be the easiest massage you've ever given. I'm like, I'm in a good place. I have good energy, blah, 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 blah. Because again, most of those people do that, but they never get rid of it themselves. They're carrying around so much weight. So she's giving me a massage, and she's talking, and we end up talking about her son who's autistic, and she started crying because I told her about Morse and we can help him. She tells me that she's a Reiki master and she can read energy. So I said, well, what are you picking up on me? And she goes, you're like a magnet. And I was like, all right. So, but it's amazing what's going on. And when you're in that good place and I love everybody and I love people and I love people. So I walk around, I'm like the mayor here. I've been here for like 6 or 8 weeks and I'm like the mayor, it's awesome, but it's so awesome around here with like Zagat rated restaurants. It's unreal. Really. It's like, it's amazing what's happening here. So I'm going inward again because I'm not getting any of my stuff done. And Georgia's unbelievable. Like I went to this DeKalb County farmers market. There's fruits and I almost passed out when I walked in. Like it's fruits and vegetables from all over the world. It's 125,000 square feet or something. It's all Ethiopians working there. It's like, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. So like this area in particular, even for raw foods, because for a while I was thinking Hawaii, or I want to actually do Chile someday, same as you, Gino, I'm going to run away to an island. But I'm so glad that I learned how to clean out all that stuff and we can weather anything we want,
of course,
any environment. But I know enough to take myself out too. And what I'll do now, is I'll put my headphones in and I can be anywhere and I'm out. You know what I mean? I'm in my own zone. So it's, and the tips and tricks that you learn, it's like we all want everything instant, but it took me like 4 or 5 years for all of this to kind of click, after all the information, after all the Jennifer Daniels, all the Morse, all the videos, all that kind of stuff. And it's just, everybody needs to be patient with it. And I'm included, it's life. I want to be perfect and everything else, but I think the reason I know I'm going to help a lot of people is because I have a lot of experiences. And when people are like, oh yeah, right. Well, I'm bipolar. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to be like, all right, I got you. What do you want to talk about? And it helps. And my openness, I'm amazed at the amount of stuff that people tell. Like some girl told me yesterday, she's like, I don't know what you're into, but I'm totally 100% into it. I totally think you know what you're talking about. And what I just told you, never tell anybody else. All right, take it easy. It's hilarious. But for me, I've always given my information away, always. And so now it's just getting the programs out there so that I can get something in return for what I'm giving. I'm still learning that. I'm totally cool with the vibration of money, but it's not coming back fast enough. Yeah. But I know it's coming, and I don't even care about it. I just want to pay my bills and be able to, not be held back by anything.
Maybe you want to share what happened through your Master Fast experience.
Well,
did you start unloading stuff? What
oh my God. Yeah. Unbelievable. I started talking with El. I'm going to turn my volume off for a sec because I have to use the restroom. But I just had tea, so I started talking with Ed Wellville a little bit, and I sent him. I'm on disability too, and so is he. And I just had extra money, so I decided to. I sent his sister, who he lives with, flowers from him, and I sent him some Dr. Bronner stuff because he'd never had it. And just to do that feeling, I get goosebumps even now off of it. I get goosebumps probably 8-10 times a day. And that love that I felt from giving made me bawl, and I love that shit. And I'll listen to, I've always been pretty open, but now it's real. I can totally, it's awesome when stuff comes up and I can, I have the clarity to just,
That happened
I
to
don't
you
know.
during the master fast?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And then, like it's just weird. It seems like the more I give, the more that comes back. And so for me now, it's about that vibration and the energy, and that's what Buddhism is about. It's about love, and you chant to get on that vibration that we all know about. So, yeah, it's just honestly, what it did for me is it made me allow the good that is in this world and not think that I wasn't good enough to be better, I guess. I've always had big groups of friends, and I know very successful people, but I always chose to hang out with the guys that were kind of lost. I don't know if that was ego back then, thinking I never really had much of an ego. Like I never thought I was better than anyone, but it just, honestly, everything I wanted is coming to me now. And now sorry, let me pause this.
Hey man, when you gotta do it, you gotta nature calls. Nature calls.
Sorry, everybody. I didn't mean to.
Awesome.
All right. So, hold on. All right. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to explain, but basically, it's almost like being manic, like I used to be, feeling unbelievable, but now having the clarity to express how I feel. And I can sit and write now. I've never been able to do that in my life. Because I definitely want to write a book about some of my experiences, but I never ever had the stick-to-itiveness that I know I can attain now. So that's major right there. Like I have a lot of thoughts and ideas going on in my head, but now's the first time I can actually put it on paper and stuff. And like people in this group have complimented, like, wow, you're a really good writer, and I'm like, wow, thanks. It's pretty cool. Like, and it's the same stuff I've always had, the same talents, the same, and it's just realizing you have everything that you need takes such a, I don't know. It's like, it's easy now.
You get a clear connection.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I do a lot too. Like if I'm chanting I use a lot of the things I've learned. So like I got into like Psych K and EFT and that kind of stuff too. Mm-hmm. So I'll do like full brain posture when I haven't been meditating, which I've been falling off a little bit, but I'm going to go full bore again and I want to be a leader. I want to show people how to do it. And I want to be my brand. That's a big thing for me. Like I have my shirt on inside out right now. And I've never really liked to advertise other things. Like when I quit drinking, I threw out all my beer hats and stuff like that. I don't like to be fake. I don't like to be what I'm not. So like I like to dress up. I can dress up. I thought, oh, this is awesome. I don't know if you know who Tony Robbins is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, Gary Vaynerchuk is a guy who's he's just a marketing guy, and he's all about social media. He owns some of Twitter and some other things. So what he does basically is films his life and tells people to get off their ass. And then if they still listen to him after a couple of years, he tells them they're idiots for not actually doing anything yet. He's cool. So I don't really watch anybody anymore like I used to, because once you get on the Master Fast, it's like you have that knowledge that they're giving. I say it's amazing what comes out of you. So I watched the Gary V, and he's got this nutritionist named Rob who's going to get him healthy. So in my head, I go, I'm going to work with Gary V someday. So, skip a couple weeks later, I'm on the fast. I'm probably sleeping 3-4 hours a night, maybe tops, maybe a nap, because I had plenty of energy. So I went to bed at 11 one night, absolutely exhausted. And I got up thinking it was 5 and it was 2 a.m. So I'm like, So I get right on Facebook. And the first thing that comes up is Tony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk in Decatur, which is 20 minutes away, June 29th. So I'm like, I have to go. This is it's like the universe is actually like setting it up for me now. So I end up buying the $500. I go through 3 credit cards. I put $500 on there to get the private lunch with Tony V and Robbins and all this stuff, right? So I now know that I'm going to work with Tony V. Like it's going to happen, because I can get in a conversation with anybody and I know that it's gonna happen. So I actually thought it was yesterday, and I got my finest suit on. It looked really nice. I don't like wearing that stuff, but I went to private school. I can dress up if I must, but I don't like that pretentious crap. So I dressed up yesterday, and I'm going to show up there at lunchtime. I'm going to miss the whole lunch, the whole before lunch, because I know it's going to be Barbara from Shark Tank and somebody else, the woman that came up with Spanx. So I knew I was going to meet these guys. But then I look at the thing on the way in, and I'm like, oh, shoot, it's next week. But everything's coming and everything's happening. It's just because of what I did for others. I'm behind in some things right now, but I know it's going to happen, and it's going to all work out. So, and I know it's a lot of that. Most of it has to, I mean, just the fact that being on the Master Fast is what kind of woke me up. Well, no kidding. Like, it's amazing how much crap we have. And I say to everybody too, it's like the igloo cooler, you take it from the bottom, you clean out that mucoid pack and all the tapeworms and stuff, but your head is the first thing to clear. And like, I didn't even have any way to make money off of people yet. And I blew through like 500 cards the first month I was in Atlanta, because everybody that you talked about this stuff, if you ask the right questions, they're interested. They don't know. Nobody knows. And they'll be like, I feel fine. No, I feel great. And then you're like, so what about this or that? And they're like, well, isn't everybody on medication?
Exactly.
So John, what's your plan for this one? You're going to do another Master Fast soon?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of half-assing it right now. I have some herbs, but not much. I probably have like a week's worth. So I'm actually gonna do it until I meet with Tony and Gary, because I want to be on that level. Mm-hmm. And then I'm feeling it out. I want to kind of see if I need a little bit of help right now. I'm just trying to figure out how to help myself.
Yeah.
So that I can because I want to get the lungs I want to get more herbs, and I want to get the bigger ones, and I want to get lung.
So you just want to collect the ingredients and then restart. Do you want to do a long one?
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole goal if I do it this year again, I want to do the 108. Like, I want to be an admin on the page. That was my goal going in. That was my goal for the first one, but there was too much. I don't know. I allowed others to take me off. I screwed up my environment for myself, and I've been supporting other people, and it's made me suffer.
Yeah, but this is how you learn. The universe is teaching you, right?
Yeah, no, I want to keep learning. Yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. Whatever is going
if I ever walk around and I'm like, I know everything, just punch me in the face, or like, I never want to talk that way again, because I have friends who have their doctorates or masters, and they're like, you can't tell them anything because they're educated. And it's like, it's so simple-minded and short-sighted, Like, I went to the Raw Foods Festival a couple years ago in upstate New York, and I was talking about the lymphatic system. So this guy's like, oh, you got to talk to Barbara. So I'm talking to this woman who is a biology teacher in high school. And I mentioned the lymphatic system. And she goes, I was really listening to you until you mentioned the lymphatic system, because we don't have one. We don't have a lymphatic system in our head. And I go, well, actually, the University of Virginia, like 3 years ago, discovered it. So think about that. Every textbook that we are making people learn from is absolutely extinct. And because of the stupid system we've set up, it's like, even if you're smarter than me, you have to do this because I had to do it. And she's teaching our children about things that aren't even true.
They're extinct as soon as they're written. They don't get it.
Right. It's extinct. So I want to try to make as big a difference as I can. And I know it's one at a time. Like, I love helping people. I love
one at a time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right. That's it. And so I want to do I have Inherent Balance, which is the coaching online, which I want to do. But because I need more movement in my life, I'm going to start doing delivery of super smoothies and salads and things locally, just to get the general public too.
Are you going to prepare it at home? So you're starting?
Right now, yes. They're very strict here, and I have an awesome kitchen. I don't know if you see it. And I just got I got an Excalibur dehydrator. I got a couple Vitamixes. I have a bunch of equipment.
Amazing.
So I'm going to do it here for now. And I don't have a car. So I'm going to actually walk it to businesses, but I have an app so they can order it the night before, and then I'll be all set, you know?
Is that
So that's it. And then I'm going to do all the festivals around here, and I'm going to start making, I got some awesome I have a relationship with Bob and Bev. I introduced them to the group a while ago. They didn't go Master Fast, but they're 80 and 85, and they did do something else. So, and I sat with them and talked for them for hours. So I get fresh bee wax from him, and honey and everything else. And I'm going to make all kinds of all natural products and do all the venues and festivals that are in Georgia, and just try to generate some cash for now until I can get a location, you know?
Amazing.
That's it. Just got to keep moving.
Yeah.
You know?
Start somewhere, follow your passion.
Yeah. And like even the girls in the office and everybody else, they're all, you know, I brought them jackfruit the other day and they're like, oh my God, what is this? It tastes like bubble gum, doesn't it? You know, so I like feeding people. I wasn't taught how to take money in return. You know, it's
so
weird.
You're working right now?
What?
Right now you're working?
Walking?
Not working? Are you already working?
No. I'm living right now. I'm screwed. I'm not screwed, but like it cost me $5,000 to get a nonprofit for the business. So all the money that I saved, I'm okay, but it's time to start making some money. You know, that's where Johnny Bananas comes in, where the app comes in, and hopefully Tuesday I can just start delivering locally. And I know a lot of people, so, you know, and they're like, well, you know, so I think it's going to work.
Yeah.
It's just a way to generate some money. I have a lot of people that owe me money, and it is coming back around, but it's just, I got to be patient, you know. And I want to do MFS too, because when I'm on it, you save money.
Oh yeah.
It's like, it's $8 a day. What do you, you know?
Time, you save energy, you save.
Right. And I'm trying, you know, I was hoping that some of these people that I was sharing my herbs with were gonna like go in with me and order the next batch, but
yeah, it's
you know that
depend on anybody. Be independent. No.
I know. If I didn't help them, I wouldn't even be worried about it. You know, I'd already have my fresh package of well-packaged herbs.
We help ourselves first.
I know. I'm working on it. So it's, you know, everything's good. I have it's cool. I plugged in here.
Did you go through any healing reactions through your 60 days or whatever?
The worst thing, I don't know. I told you guys in one of my things that like I had something called torsion done when I was 12 years old, which is I jumped in the pool and my left testicle twisted and cut the circulation off. Yeah, it was painful. So when I do a dry, I feel it there. I don't know what's going to happen there, Gino. Like, I don't know if it's going to I don't know. But I have like a 12-year-old ball on one side and a regular one on the other one. So, and I used to think I might not have kids and all that, but I've met a couple guys over the years and just, I have 4 kids and I have this. So I know I'm good. So that was a little painful. My tooth, I did grapes. I've done the Master Cleanse 6 times, 10 days each. I've done the Morse thing. I've done grapes 14 days and then stopped eating them and went cooked, and I got an abscessed tooth. So that's where I learned about the activated charcoal, and I did a tea bag, and that drew all the pus out. So I was working at La Cantina in agonizing pain, and my dad would walk by me and go, just go to the fucking dentist, will you? And I'm like, ugh! You know, but the general consensus is do this, do that. But, you know, people think they're special because they have a private doctor. You know, it's sad. So I pulled that out. Huh?
The thing is, people don't want to take responsibility. They want somebody else to do it for them, right?
Sure.
Yeah. That's the way we're taught. We're brought up.
Yeah.
Got something, go over there, go over there.
Yep. And unfortunately, that's actually the same way my dad wanted to do for me, like help. But you can't, man. I got to do this on my own. It's just like the fast. You have to go through it for yourself. I can't do this for you, you know? And it's, you know, and like I said, I mean, I have people in my world who I know anybody can be helped so much by this, and whatever it is, but some just refuse to do it. I don't know what it is. I don't know why they're so scared of change or healing or pain, or, I mean, think about all the pain we've been through anyway. This is heaven or hell right here on earth. I've been in both, you know?
What's the guy's name there? He posted today of his, when he ended the massive fast, he was skin and bones. And you get all kinds of comments from people.
Yeah.
Anorexia, it's just totally ignorance, you know, like they have no clue though what we're capable of.
Right. But just by my thing, the fact that, listen, you want to get fat again? Clean out. You can get fat again. No problem.
Yeah. Sure.
And me, when I first started doing this, because you know how men are, we're like, all right, my dad was a 34, so I want to be a 34 and I want to be this. And, but if you look at the average weight of Americans back in the 1940s, it's like one, you know, for my height, it's what I am now. And being down in Georgia, I got in a conversation with a woman and she's like, you know, ever since they used to do a lot of cattle around here. She's like, ever since the 40s when ever since the 80s or whenever the time there was, they started introducing a certain steroid, the girls down in Georgia are so tall. And I mentioned that and she's like, yeah, ever since they started doing the steroids in like the 80s, that next generation of kids were giant. It's sick, you know? And it's like, people, you don't really, you know, I used to watch Cops. I used to watch all these stupid people and I used to get arrested. Now I don't watch Cops. And now I watch the Master Fast System and I'm much smarter and I don't get arrested anymore. You know? So this is, I mean, the ways that the Master Fast has helped me have been countless. But I haven't been arrested for years, so it's all good.
So what's your diet like when you're eating between the Master Fast?
I used to do just pretty much 100% raw, but now that I'm going to definitely do a little bit cooked because I do get a lot out of it, and knowing that it's not, you know, I'm not a bad boy for eating it. You know what I mean? When you're trying to do the 100% raw, you beat yourself up so much when you cheat. And like even now, I found, even though I've been eating junky, I'm a lot easier on myself after doing 56 days on the MFS. Like, yeah, I'm eating junk, but I also know I'm actually going to the bathroom regular now. Even if I eat junk, like I'll go to the bathroom in the morning, which is something that I never did my entire life. Wow. You know, it'd be like every 3 or 4 days, or, you know, I'd have like a Captain and Coke and then I'd have to go to the bathroom, something like that. But I never got up and went to the bathroom for 35 years of my life. And I don't even know how it didn't, you know, and that's why I say, if I didn't sweat my, you know, what's off as a kid and in my 20s cooking, I would have been Charles Manson, you know? And now I see it. Like when I'm around an asshole, I'm okay. Or if somebody says something stupid to me, I don't react because I look at them and I'm like, I feel sorry for you. You know, like people in my life who have been toxic for a long time, I feel for them. And I take what they say as a grain of salt because they don't even know what they're saying. You know, it's like when you see these murderers. There was a guy who, it was back when the Batman movies were out or something. He burst into a Colorado movie theater and killed a bunch of people. And if you looked at his eyes in his photo, his pupils are black. And that to me is he's completely toxic. It must have been crystal meth or something, but he switched. And it's like, that's really all it is, you know? And I'm meeting a bunch of people who have changed. They were better than me where they already had the mental ability. So without doing physical, they could change their lives. But I'm going to help them clean out now and see, like, basically all those pains. Like I've had a lot of accidents and stuff like that. And the amount of pain relief, like I go to the chiro now and it's like when you get cracked, it doesn't go back. Your muscles are loose. So it doesn't go back to where it was, you know? And it's phenomenal. I mean, I've had rollovers and for years, for 15 years ago, I had a rollover and almost broke my neck. I landed in a frozen lake in a Tahoe, had called the cops on myself, and they didn't even know where I was because I was down this big embankment and stuff. And I blew my shoes off. It was the wintertime. When the truck landed, it cracked the ice. So when I stepped out, I was standing in ice water. I had glass in my head. It was crazy. Wow. I wish I had a camera phone back then. So that my neck has cranked for years, okay? And when I'm on MFS, and I'm going to get it, there's nothing. It's like I have no cracks. And there's a spot in my back, my upper back, that I had to like, if I was walking, I had to literally like stop and stretch and stuff because it's pulling so much out of there. and it's all from the neck on that left side. It goes all the way down my my erector muscle, you know. And so the yoga helps. I'm doing, you know, I'm pretty flexible for a guy, but I have to get. I'm about to, like, Monday is the start of my routine again, where I'm going to start going to yoga. I go to the chiro twice a week. I'm going to do full MFS and pray and hope that I get either an investor or I have the balls to ask someone for help that I don't want to, and I'll be good. You know what I mean? And then I'll get Johnny Bananas going. I'll be active, and it's just, I want to be what I know I can be, you know? And I know that just by learning this and all of the knowledge I'm getting from you guys is kind of like, it's all I need. And then I got Jedi toothbrushes that keep me in the mood in the morning, you know, little baby. You ever use kids' toothbrushes? You know, it says, keep going, you're almost there. And it's pretty cool, but they're little and you could get the back of your teeth better than with these big, you know? But I just want to be a kid for the rest of my life. I never want to grow up, because I tried doing that for a long time. And I would, like, you know, I was 26 and I had a house and I listened to NPR and I drove into work and I thought I had to be this serious, you know? And I want to go back to the way that I was, which was a fun-loving, hilarious person who has lots of friends and loves life, you know?
How young are you now?
How young am I now? 41. Nobody believes it. It's kind of cool. I don't even like to talk about it because it's bullshit. Like my friends, I've had friends recently in the last couple of years that look in the kitchen at La Cantina. He's like, Jesus, Boner, what are you, getting younger? And I'm like, yeah. I had when I was short, like, I don't know if you guys have seen that license picture, but I have a picture of me when I was about 220. And I just gotten my license back from a suspension, and I had to go to Boston. I literally took 4 pictures for this license picture, and it looks like Sons of Anarchy. Like, my eyes, there's no life. I'm bloated. I have no hair. I used to, when I was when I was what they call manic back in the day, I used to, there was one time when I was shaving my head bald with a Bic razor. So I'd go into the black barbershop that I would get my high top fade, and I would use their sink to shave my head. And they're like, what's up, crazy? You know, like, and this kid actually has the exact same birthday as me. We're both Scorpios, 11/7/75. It's like, it's just hilarious. So just to have that same energy that I've experienced and have the clarity to actually do something with it is insane. And now if I do a to-do list, or, you know, I'm getting organized right now because I have so many I feel like it's almost like a beautiful mind. Like, I have so many scraps of paper and all this junk laying around that I just have to get it together. And I know that whoever's in charge or whatever this is about, I know that it's going to be incredible from here on out.
Yeah,
and
I've been goals.
And I've been, you know, they've obviously so much good is coming that it's testing me with these little bullshit trials, but I'm high stepping over all of them. And then if I'm not feeling good, I'll put my music on or do something and get away from it, you know? So, and this goat farm right across the street is nonprofit, but it's open to the public. So I can go and walk around there, and the energy over there is phenomenal. It's incredible. Like, I can't believe I'm living here, honestly. It's so cool. You know, all the amenities. It's cool. Awesome. You know, and I know I never heard about Atlanta, ever. I wasn't coming here. I don't know where the heck I am right now. You know? And like, people in this, like, so I've been going to this bar, and it's because, so I started drinking. I just quit again 3 days ago, but it's like, I can't believe I started drinking again. Like, I didn't tell anybody from home because they'd be like, I told one girl around here, and she's like, are you going to be okay with not drinking? Like, do you think that you're going to be able to handle it? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't drink for 14 years. It has no, like, what? And she's in AA. She's going to see a psychiatrist. She's like, you know, it seems to me like you're all over the place. I think maybe you should get on medication. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm not going to be talking to her too much again, because I'm trying to get her on the program so she doesn't need all that crap. And she's telling me that I'm high function, and I always have been. And so when I'm around people that aren't, they're like, you need help, you know? And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go get it. See you later. You know? But that's it. I want everybody to get together. I want everybody to be friends. I want everybody to to love. It's such a better life. It's incredible, you know?
Yeah, living in peace is so much nicer.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
No, too much garbage going on out there. We need to have some more fun and be loving in peace. There's nothing else out there. If humanity's got to continue, we got to move to peace, correct conduct. This is the way it's got to go. Otherwise,
Yeah, I mean, and I'm helping. Like I'm doing in trade a lot too. Like I come from a musical family, but I never picked up anything, and so I was always working. I was cooking. You didn't have time for anything else, like hobbies or anything. You know, my dad would be like, if you don't know how to do something, pay somebody to do it. You don't have the time. But now I want to learn everything I want to learn, you know? So I met a guy next door who's like a musician. He's going to teach me something, and I'm going to teach him about fasting. There's a 20-year-old kid who's a boxer who wants to fast. So I'm going to try to be like his mentor if I can. And like, he's going to teach me how to box. And, you know, I want to do martial arts too. I've never, Gino, I want to be able to, I've never had any issue. I've been in crazy situations. I've never been beat up. I've never been hurt. I can always talk my way out of it if need be. And it's like those biggest, baddest dudes out there, I always become friends with them because I don't compete and I don't really have an ego. And they're always like, I need protection, but I don't. And then when I'm with these guys, they don't get in fights. Everything's cool. We're friends with everybody. So, I mean, I like to break people down like that, like the biggest, toughest guys. I like to get them to talk to me, you know? And then Morse has got that story about that biker that he helped at one point. The son was like hurting the pet and everything, and he got the son, and then you turn into a different person. You know, it's like heaven or hell. It's right here, people. It's not later. It's right here, and we can attain it, you know?
It's incredible the changes that happen.
And so as far as the healing crisis, like I've had a lot over the 6 years, you know, I've done a lot of cleansing before it. So I guess my biggest struggle would have been like that back, honestly, the muscular and bone damages that I've done is what I'm struggling with the most. Because once I started taking like the upper circulatory brain and nerve and stuff, and it's like I'm awake, you know? And I'm calm too. And the Bateko, I love the Bateko breathing technique and the other ones because it's like I don't breathe heavy anymore. And when I'm doing yoga and they're like, okay, I don't do it. I do the light breaths. And these other girls that are in there, they're not on like, you know, they're not, I have a woman's body. Like I have a great woman's body. And so like at the end of yoga, I'm fine. And these girls are all like, they're dying, you know, it's crazy. And like, even on the fast, I'm still doing it. And I'll stop. If it's too much, I'll stop. Cause I've definitely been getting a lot of flow going, you know? And I don't have too many blockages except for the accidents. So that basically for me, it's just clearing out that flow, the obstructions. And then, you know, I think it's going to be real. Like I'm going to continue to grow and grow. Someone asked me, I think 2 years ago at La Cantina, when he thought I reached my prime. And I looked at him and I said, honestly, I don't think I have. And that's the truth. Because I've never been clean enough to sort of build the way I want, either physically or mentally, and now it's starting. So
fasting's the way.
You know, there's so much great things going on down here, and I went to Jazz Fest. And I had my shirt off and I'm walking around, and this lady, I don't know, it was just funny. I see these girls, I turn and I see this woman checking me out, and all her friends laugh because she's checking me out. And she called me Adonis. And I was like, I just laughed. It's like, it's so cool it's just cool to hear that kind of stuff and actually love yourself enough now where you actually thank them for it. And you're not like, no, you know, it's like cooking back in the day. I was always taught if somebody compliments you, you tell them it's nothing and like, oh, this whole thing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I used to think that people that complimented just did it because they wanted it in return. Because I know some Guidos up there, you know, and they're like, oh my God, you look beautiful, and blah, blah, blah. And I always thought they were so fake and that they were only doing it to get that in because they wanted a compliment, you know? But it's like, I'm finally like understanding that if people say they like you, they actually might like you, or they might like you know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. You know?
It's a possibility.
And like, yeah, and it's like, forget the it's amazing what happens when you give yourself a break and you're plugged in. It's like listen to this story. This is incredible. So I'm thinking, why did I have to go through what I went through in Naples? I end up going to a Sprint store and I get in a conversation. This guy goes, "You from Europe?" And I said, "No, but thanks for the compliment." And so we start talking, and I don't even know how I start talking about detoxing. And he goes, "You know Dr. Robert Morse?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I'm certified with him. And he's like, "Oh my God." He's like, "You're the first person I met who's gone through the protocol." He's like, "Honey, look at the whites of his eyes. Look at how white they are." And so we start talking, right? And now my buddy Fran out in LA is going to Cuba in August. And so I was like, "Hey, can I go?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So I'm down in Florida. I'm talking to this guy. We become buddies, right? He gives me his card, and he's a tobaccoist in Naples, Florida, who has a cigar shop since 1994. And I make a joke, and I go, "What are you, like personal friends with the Castros or something?" And he goes, "Well, Raul, yeah." So this guy, his name's Marcus Daniels. He's got like expensive cigars that don't even smell like cigars. And he is on TV in Cuba. So when I go down to Cuba, I might meet Raul Castro. So like Fran and this other couple have never even been to Cuba. I'm going a few days early, and I'm like, I'm going to see if I can set some stuff up because they've never been there. So I'm going to lay the groundwork down. We're going to have an unbelievable vacation as long as I have the finances to do it. So it's like, it's amazing what happens when you start to look at what is going on and things that are. I met a girl the other night, and like, I don't date. And so I met a girl the other night, and I asked her, it was like the universe sent her to me. It was so cool. Like the connection. And I'm like, I looked at her and I'm like, "Who are you?" It was awesome. The conversations I get into now, the people that I talk to, and it's like everybody that I run into, there's a reason, there's synchronicity there. There's a reason we ran into each other. It's nuts. Whereas when I lived in Boston, I was eating like shit and living like shit. You walk around like you got to do it for you. There's nobody in this world but me. I got to do it. Yeah, who's going to help me? All that shit. It's such bullshit, being closed off like that. All right, so I'm going rogue again. I didn't get it all out. I'm sorry. Give me 2 minutes, not even.
Oh, yeah. Anybody, who do we have on there? We have Robert, Kelly, Sandy. Anybody got any questions for John or something in general? Dave, we got Dave, we got Chelsea.
All right, I'm back. Much better. Sorry.
All
right, I'm back. Sorry. So what do we have? Like 2 people watching tonight?
No, we got a few here.
I
was just asking.
Yeah, so like,
anybody has any questions or to ask you or in general?
What's up, Rob? How you doing, brother? Dave, Chelsea.
I'm good, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good. Have you done it? Have you done the cleanse at all?
I did 34 days first time.
Nice.
I tried to do it again second time, and I did 12 days, and
yep,
it was pretty easy. Actually, it was much easier than the first time. But I decided to have a smoke with my friend, smoke some weed.
Yep.
And that kind of messed it up for me, and I decided to have a watermelon, and then I broke my
Yep. Yep.
So.
So for me, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. Like I was a smoker for a long time, and around the bad people, even after the 61 days, I started smoking again and weed and all that. But when I got on day like 5 or 6 of the Master Cleanse, I gave up smoking weed and cigarettes, no problem. It was phenomenal. And I'm about to do it again, but it's amazing how it works like that. It's crazy. Like, you don't need anything.
Yeah, I just feel like because I felt wasn't ready to do the long one mentally. You just kind of.
Sure.
My done, I was very sick, so I had more reason to push harder because I was feeling so bad. I didn't have much to lose, so I kind of went for as long as I could. So I did 38 days, I think, and I was doing too much. I was taking turpentine and doing like.
And that stuff's dangerous too. People, if they don't understand it, they're hurting themselves bad. Like, I did it one night and I was just like on the toilet for hours. I was like worried about it, and it ended up being fine, but it's such an aggressive way of doing it, you know?
I don't know, because I'm thinking some people, I see they text on Facebook, they did 42 hours. I know Gino says start slowly with dry fasting, because, and many people also gave advice to take it easy, because if you push too hard at the start, you burn yourself out, and then you don't end up finishing the 108 days. And a lot of people
and you get cocky too. You get cocky and think you can, do whatever you want. And that's kind of what happened to me. I was like, oh, it doesn't matter what environment I'm in, but it really does. You have to always kind of be on guard. What you're letting in and what you're.
Do the dry, isn't it? Master fast is basically, as Gino says, glorified dry fast. So when you do dries, where you kind of going deep, right, and then you go as much as you can, and then you relax, you drink your juice again, take your herbs, and then take a break on juice, and then you go dry again, take a break on juice, go dry again. So the way I thought I should do it is start with 4 days dry, and
you're nuts. You're nuts, huh?
I thought it was pretty easy. Could do more, but I didn't want to push more because I don't want to burn myself out. And then after that, so the 12 days that I did the second time, it was very easy because I wasn't pushing myself, but I wasn't I wasn't filtering as much as I did the first time. When I did my first fast, I was pushing myself harder, but I could see the results much quicker. I could see there was more stuff coming out of my body. I had more in my urine, for example. When I took my urine,
more sediment.
There was more stuff coming out of it, but while I was taking easy on my second fast, I didn't push as much, and I didn't really feel like I was even doing fast. So I did 12 days like nothing. It was easy, and then I thought, so I don't really know like what is better. Is it maybe better to push on the dry so you get some kind of results? So even if you don't do a long one, you still do something. But if you don't push, if you do like small dry fast, then there's no healing happening, is there? I mean,
I want to try to get to that. I mean, I already got low enough where my weight actually came back, but I want to try to go as long as I can and try to work out so that I don't, like, I mentioned to my mother like a jerk. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go back on the fast. And she's like, why? Yeah. And I'm like, no, you forget it. I take that back. I'm not doing it again. I got to learn not to talk to people about it because nobody knows. And it just ends up,
finishes the race. Slow, steady finishes the race.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like, just do the minimal. Don't, Rome wasn't built in a day.
This is, most people are 20 to 30% in a dehydrated state at a cellular level. You start pushing the dry fast, you're going to get yourself in a severe dehydrated state.
Right. And you're gonna want to strangle somebody too.
We've had people that tried that and we don't see them anymore. They're gone because they burn out. They burn themselves out.
And then they talk trash about, and the doctors now too, they're pushing like, you can regenerate stem cell growth in 3 days. But if you do a dry fast, these people are going to hurt themselves and then they're going to never do it again. It sucks how they're beating us to the punch.
Yeah, that's why we suggest people read thoroughly, watch videos, gain an understanding, ask questions. Otherwise, you're jumping in with no experience, and you get hit with these healing reactions, and they get all scared. They just don't know what's happening.
Exactly. And
Robert, I have never done myself. I've never done more than 3 days.
Oh, really?
What, dry? Dry fast? Yeah.
I've never.
I think I did 56 hours.
And I don't feel I need to right now.
Yeah.
And
I had two things going on. My boss, she actually freaked out. My boss, she's American, and she saw me the first time I did the fast. But she saw me how sick I was before the fast. I was very sick. I was always yellow and always pain in my stomach and inflammation. I could never eat.
This was before your first one?
Yeah, before my first fast. I was very sick. I was sick for about 4 years. I was trying everything. I was trying everything I could find on the internet. I was trying. But some things helped me. I was off the meat for 1 year because I noticed every time I ate meat or grains, or I wouldn't feel good. Within an hour or 2 hours after, I would feel terrible. So I was trying to clean up my diet as much as possible, and I was off the meat for 1 year. But after I did my fast, after I did the master fast, not straight away, but about 2 weeks later, I felt great. I had started eating more, and I started feeling much better. And then I had a bit of lamb, I had a bit of red wine, and I started eating more and more. And it's like, oh, I'm feeling much better now, and all my symptoms were gone. I was like, okay, so I knew I had more work to do, but I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna have to do my fast sometime later again. So now I might as well enjoy it. So I went back eating all the crap stuff and doing things I shouldn't. And then
so you have a standard diet?
Yeah, so I'm from Lithuania originally, so it's similar diet to the lady that was on last week. Saturday.
So everything pretty much?
Sorry?
So your diet is everything pretty much? You eat everything?
Well, right now I'm trying to stay on fruits, so I go as long as I can on fruits, and I try to do my exercise. And then when I start to crave meat very much, I have something.
You went through some pretty severe healing reactions on your first round, right?
Yes.
I remember. Yeah.
But I was pushing too hard with the dry fast because I want everything now. I always push. It's
the dry. Once this is a lot of people, they're having these challenges once they break their fast. They drop the dry fast and they go to eating 7 days a week, 2-3 meals a day or more, and they're going to get in trouble very fast. This is not what we teach. Once you clean up, especially after a long fast, 40, 50, 60 days or more, you got a much more efficient body. Your body don't need.
Yep.
Just like you said, knowing is one thing. You can know the whole system, yes, understand it, but when I do it, it's different.
Exactly. This is where the support is crucial.
Right.
You need a support system because it's not out there. I never had it for all these 27 years. It just, so this is where I set out to have a thing that we can all go to and support each other because it's so crucial. We don't have the support system out there in alternative type of healing. We're on our own. We're on our own.
Yeah, Robert, you just want to find your balance between fasting and eating. You choose whatever works for you. Maybe you're not ready. I mean, you haven't found something that works for you, but you want to find something that works for you.
I want to do 108 days, but right now, because my boss even threatened to, she doesn't understand. I tried to explain to her, and I had to because the way I looked while I was fasting. But when she found out I was gonna do it again, because she started seeing me lose weight after a few days, and she asked me what I was doing. Was I not eating again? And I was like, yeah, I'm doing this master fast cleanse. And I sent her links and everything to check it out, and I really wanted to look into it because she's the person that always telling me, oh, there's another guy who has cancer now. This guy has this. And if you want to help them, why don't you learn what I'm learning? And then, you can show to your friends and your family and stuff like that. But it's, you cannot tell people that unless
there's a couple of nurses. I have a couple of friends that are nurses, and they're like, a couple of comments on my regular Facebook page, like, "Oh my God, you look thick, blah, blah." So I challenged them this time that after my next 20 days, I want to challenge them to a blood test, and they're nurses, to see who's got better numbers.
Yeah, I don't go with blood work. It's
Yeah.
based on a population of sick people.
Right. And the average. I don't want to be average. Are you kidding me?
It's left up to interpretation. They're only looking at matter state. There's so much more happening, and this is where people have a challenge with what I share. Is they're bringing in science. I don't want to hear it.
So,
I don't want to.
Right.
so Robert,
Somebody asked me. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, Robert, you're having a little bit tough time with the weight loss. Yeah.
Personally, myself, I don't care about the weight. It's
Yeah, but I mean, like the action.
but what happens? I do lose weight quickly, so I know my body has. You know, you cannot build how you say new temple on top of the old one. You need to tear down the old and then
Exactly.
build the
Yeah. Now let me tell you, if you do 108 days, you're gonna turn to sustainable.
Can you say that again? Sorry, cannot hear
If you
you.
do 108 days, you're going to be very small. So you want to be ready for that psychologically, because you will be faced with all these criticisms. I have done, I mean, even, yeah, I mean, you will always lose weight if you get into it.
And if somebody asks and when I'm really light, if somebody asks a stupid question or makes a dumb comment, I'm going to make them feel terrible. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm actually dying. You know, just to get them to run away or whatever. Like, oh my God. I'm going to play the game. I'll play the game too.
The hardest thing I find is the family.
It's the people, they're the closest to you, because you can be strong, right? You can have this like a fence around you, but the people.
I'm completely around anybody who knows me.
They're a weakness. You know?
I love it. You know, these people don't know you know what I mean? They don't know that I was 220 pounds, or they don't know. Every time I do the fast, I'll just move.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But you know, it's got to be a lifestyle. You can't just jump in and go back to your old ways and jump out and jump in and jump out. You're just gonna, you know, put yourself through stresses that the body doesn't need.
Like, do whatever you want. Honestly, like, if you fall, get up and fall and get up. So what? Fall and get up.
I'm okay with it.
Until you're ready.
I'm okay with it.
We are trying. We do our best to help you because we have fallen many times. Yes, so we do our best to help you, giving you the protocol. For me, the only thing that worked since I finished the 108 days, more than a year and a half ago, is to do the weekly master fast, eating 1 day a week only. That's where I found my freedom. That's where I found, like, I don't care for food anymore. I enjoy food, but I don't care for it. Like, I'm not craving it.
Do exercise?
Right.
And stuff?
I do yoga only on Sundays because I'm running my business and also I'm doing other things on the side. So it's like my priority right now is not to exercise every day like I did on one of the master fasts. I did 75 days straight of 1.5 hours to 2 hours of workout, you know, and I felt amazing. And I would love to get back to that. I was doing yoga, Ashtanga, or Vinyasa every day. I would like to get back to that, but it's okay. I will. But right now, my priority is not exercise. My time is more towards other things that I want to.
Yeah.
And exercise is a funny thing because right now I'm trying to figure out, like, I see my fitness. I before used to always jog and do boxing training and stuff. And because I always eat, like everybody else eats 2 times, 3 times per day, I was always very unfit. So even though, I get better, but I would never be as, I know my distance, how much I can run, right? My normal distance around my house, how far I can run and how tired I'd be after the run, right? My stamina. But after the fasts, when I clean up my diet and when I did the run, I was much fitter.
Oh, yeah.
And I was not training, right? So it's not exactly about you training and push. It's
Obstructions.
Yeah, obstruction.
Yeah, way more flexibility.
E equals P, take away O. Simple equation from Arnold Ehret.
The only reason I know I need to do 108 days because I know I need to strip down all and then rebuild.
Go for it.
Yes, I really want to do it, but it's how do you say?
It's okay. When you're ready, yeah. But you know what? Please
Listen, hey, and Robert, if your boss says anything, say, no, I'm not fasting. I'm really sick this time. And she'll leave you alone.
Yeah,
and
it's too late for that now. She knows.
Robert, what, like, okay, tell me something. How do you see yourself, like, lifestyle? What kind of lifestyle do you want?
My lifestyle, I want to be eating. I have all the plan already where I want to be. I know what I want to do. So I know I want to be like one of those people, you know, who live 200, 300 years. I know it sounds stupid now, okay, if I tell people this, but why not, right?
Depends on who you're telling. Depends on who you're telling.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to be healthy, and I know that.
Yeah, but be more specific a little bit. Like, what kind of diet do you see? What kind of lifestyle, diet-wise, do you see yourself doing? Let's say
fruits only. I would like to be eating mainly fruits 3 times per week. I think it's more than enough.
Okay.
Fruits only right now, and I can see how this is possible. It's like getting over the slump, over the hill. It's harder. Like it's how to say. It gets harder and harder and harder, but instead of turning around and going back, go a little further to get over it. And I've done it a few times, and you can feel how your body. It's like a language. You learn your body language. You're learning yourself about yourself, how your body works. And I can see the difference. What happens when I eat fruits only? I see when I get over. When I stop eating meat, at first 3 days, 4 days, sometimes I feel dizzy. Yeah, I feel like I get up too fast. I said, okay. And instead of being scared and going back, oh my God, I have no energy, I need to eat. I know I have to wait a little longer on the fruits, and I do that. I don't eat any meat. I stay away. And
can I give you a suggestion? I think going on a fruit is a little bit from a standard diet. You know, a little bit a big change. Maybe take it easy on yourself. Maybe do the mucusless diet, raw and cooked whole fruits and vegetables. Mucusless, no fats, no oils, no salt. Just keep it clean. No grains, of course, and of course, no animal products, because you don't want to be jumping between fruits and meats. So take it easy. What if you have the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Easy until give it a year.
Oh, no. I want to be healthy now. Yeah.
You can do it now, but you might fall. I don't know. I mean, if you keep falling, then take it easy.
I'm worried because I'm 28 now, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna be 29 in August.
So lucky! You're so lucky.
I'm gonna be 30. I need to turn around now. I need to think.
Oh man!
That's what's stressing you out and making you fall. So forget it. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Look at me. At 20, you can quit drinking now. You're all set.
Right.
Yeah, you're doing amazing, Robert. So take it easy.
You felt the benefits from your first, you know what I mean? And you just got a taste of it. Just think about, you commit to it for life, what happens. Yeah. In 5-10 years, you won't even recognize yourself.
Yeah, you're doing amazing. Give your body a year. Let's say just a year of raw and cooked mucusless fruits and vegetables. A year. I give my body a year, for God's sake. And I did raw foods in the past. You know? Yeah. Like 5 years ago, I started with raw foods, but I fell, back to cooked vegan and stuff like that. But it's been a journey, of doing it for months and then going back to cooked and then doing it again, So but the best thing you can ever do is fast, and we know that. I know that. That's the best feeling when I fast. So most of my days are gonna be fasting, and when I eat, I will eat whatever I want, but it's gonna be clean, basically, raw and cooked, mucusless. And I will give my body until it says, okay, no more cooked. My body will tell me. I know, because it's already telling me. So listen to your body. You want to get this, connection with your body, where the body tells you what to do rather than you telling the body.
Yeah.
Right.
Rather than you telling the body, okay, now you're just gonna eat fruits. The body's gonna just let go like that, Take it easy on the body, and it will tell you. It will tell you, you know what? This is constipating. This food.
I could feel it now.
Yeah, I
now.
don't want to eat it
I
anymore.
did last 3 days fruits only, and I had a bit of veg, and and then but I was doing exercise every day, so I want to be strong. I don't want to get weak, so I'm doing pull-ups and push-ups and all that every day, just do. Because okay, if I keep doing it every day, I'm gonna stay strong. I'm gonna have bad days, good days, but I'm gonna get over it. So just keep doing, right? I will adjust, and then I get weaker and weaker, and okay, now I'm gonna have something with meat in it just to come back a little bit, and then I have some meat, and I could see straight away the difference from how my body reacts. It doesn't like it, and I feel much better while I'm on fruits for those first few days. It's like, wow, okay, this is great, right? And then
you start detoxing,
and then detox is down, and then you have meat, and then it's even worse. Like you're satisfied for that 1 hour, and then you don't feel good anymore after that, and then you go back on fruits again. And I feel I'm going back and forward like this. It's not good, of course.
So be gentle. That's all.
It's a commitment for life. That's all. It's a commitment.
Yeah. Be gentle with your goals. It's okay.
It takes what it takes.
What about you, Dino? Do you still eat cooked food right now?
I eat a little bit. Not. It's getting less and less.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just look forward to your goals. That's it. Focus on that. Doesn't matter how long it takes. But, as the months and years go by, it gets better and better and better and better, with your dips, of course. But it keeps getting better and better and better. It's when you pass 5 years, it's remarkable the changes. Like today, Lisa posted. She's been bedridden for 20 years. She hasn't stood up and walked for 12. She just walked. She put a video up. First time in 12 years, she's walked away from her bed like about 8 or 10 feet, a couple of meters or so, 3 meters. This is incredible, guys. Like when you set your goals, the system's sound for the people who want to do it. If they don't do it, the results aren't going to be there. It's simple. So we just got to commit and do the work. Do the work. We're going to have our healing reactions, maybe or maybe not. Some people do. Some people have horrific ones.
More than do the work, I'd say enjoy the journey.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Enjoy the journey. Come on.
It's psychological.
Adventure. Mine's an adventure. It's not a journey.
It's all up here.
Yeah, enjoy every moment.
All the healing, whenever you get healing reactions, jump for joy because the next ups are going to be a higher. It really is. It really is. The body's purging some deep stuff. And this is where it's a challenge for people to understand that's going on. That's how the body functions to heal itself, to cleanse.
Now when I feel weird, on a dry fast, I'm like, all right, now the body's working, like this is good. I'm happy that it's doing something weird, like a weird symptom. I feel something strange somewhere when I'm dry fasting.
Go see your doctor.
My plan is because I'm saving money right now, so I can I have my escape plan because I'm in Ireland right now. I'm married to a girl. She's from Thailand, and we want to go back living in Thailand. It's not easy. They don't make it easy for me to stay there.
Oh, really?
Laws, even though I'm married with a Thai person, they need a lot of money. So my plan is I'm saving money now with this job, so I have a good opportunity to save money because it's a good job. I never went to university or college, and it just kind of landed on my lap through the friends that I know. So I'm saving a lot of money now, and my plan is to go back to Thailand, and to set myself up there and to live and eat fruits only. I want to have a diet eating maybe, like I said, 2-3 times per week, be healthy and work on myself. But right now I cannot. This opportunity with my work, I have to be careful not to lose my job. And if I start doing the master fast again, I'm very scared. My boss, she says she cares about me, but I think she's more afraid. I don't know. not for me, but for herself, maybe to, you know,
You don't have to decide.
yeah, they want that responsibility on her hands. She don't know what to do. This guy's not eating, starving. So I want to keep this job until I have enough money, and then I go, and then I can do. I have time for myself to work on. But right now, what I can do is fruits mainly. Yes, try to eat fruits mainly and do short fasts. And I
Good.
was hoping if I could do something, and I don't know, maybe you can advise me. I think I can do is do. I want to do like 9 days dry and 9 days on again, 9 days dry. Of course, not straight away, but I can feel I can do 5 days now without much problem.
5 days dry?
Yes, 5 days I can do without much problem now. 4 days is normal. 5 days I start to have, you know, like the difficulties with the dizziness and like my energy goes low, but I need to keep moving around. But then I know if you push more, it's maybe dangerous. And have to be careful with breaking my fast. But I'm not sure if that's a good
5
idea.
days
But
dry and 5 days eating, and then 5 days. That's.
Was the massive fast your first time you've ever fasted?
I did very short ones because I told you before. I tried different things before, like water fasts.
Okay.
So I did, I think, 7 days on water before. And then
What?
I was doing a shorter fast just for myself. Actually, I started experimenting with dry fasts, and that's when I found you on YouTube, you know, when I typed in dry fasting, because something I found out because I was looking at my tongue and the smell coming back when I wasn't drinking any water. And I was thinking, oh, this is so weird because maybe there's something more to this dry fasting because I could see my tongue get very dirty. And I could imagine it like this rubbish coming to surface, and it's like, okay, it's coming to surface, now time to wash it off. So maybe there's something to this dry fasting, and that's why when I saw your videos on YouTube at the same time, and that's how I resonate and say, oh, this guy knows something, he's on something. So then I started following you, what you were talking about. But I'm just wondering now if I cleaned up my diet and I just stayed on fruits, could I start doing this dry fast without having done the long master fast, without having done 108 days?
The dry fasting should be part of your life no matter what, right?
Yeah.
When we're eating. So, you know, when we go into a master fast, we're just going a lot more deeper because we're giving the digestion system a long rest, and that's the key. The dry fast, you know, there's a lot of good people doing dry fasting out there, but we're not seeing the magic that's happening. What we're seeing with people on the master fast is because we're cleaning the GI tract out. That's the key.
Right.
You got to get that GI tract clean, and then you watch the magic happen, which is what we're seeing. So, you know, even if you know, don't go 108 days, you know, a few times a year, you do 30 days or whatever, master fast a few times, or you know, whatever. You got to find something that you can work with. You know, we got all the different mini options. Like Rana's doing 6 days master fast, 1 day eating.
I honestly think you're going to be pushing it by doing that. By doing 5 days dry and then 5 days eating. I mean, Gino doesn't do that.
Good luck.
He doesn't even do food diet. You know, he's doing fruits and vegetables when he eats. And I mean, but just talking about the dry, he doesn't do that. He does 3-day dry fast, but that's after 2-3 years of dry fasting. 3 years of dry fasting.
Years.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do 3 days every week. You're gonna turn so skinny. Talking about being skinny, 3 days a week,
you won't be able to handle it.
And the weight is gonna come back only if you binge eat.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna be skinny.
You'll dehydrate very quick.
I wouldn't do that. I would
Slow,
take it easy. Just do 2 days maybe maximum. I mean,
you work on the program the way we have it set up. Your dailies, your weekly, your monthly, and then the season change, you go as long as you can go. That's the way you should keep your lifestyle always, whether you're on massive fast or not.
Yeah.
You can do the hybrid, not so you don't lose weight. There's Michelle is doing the hybrid because she wants to keep the weight, you know. She doesn't want to lose too much weight too fast. So she's eating almost every day except when she's dry fasting. Yeah. And
I do that 1 time a week. 1 day is no problem. 2 days sometimes. I try to get my mom, my wife, my dad. I tell everybody, do it. Have to do it. There's no other way. but I would love to. I was just hoping maybe I had in my head do 9-9, but maybe it's too much, like you said. So.
The most
You're not gonna.
no,
You're not,
it's way too much. You're gonna be even more skinny than 108 days. I mean,
when you do a long dry fast, you need to have absolute rest from dry fasting for at least 1.5 times the length of the dry fast. So if you did 10 days to make it easy for math, 15-day rest completely from dry fasting, no dry fasting. So, basically your dailies only and not long windows of dry. But that's the way we go about with dry fasting. There's a lot going on in dry fasting. It's exponential. As you go in the days, it just gets more and more and more and more and more potent. It's very powerful. Like, 10-day dry fast, who knows what? It's probably a 40, 50-day water fast at least. Easy.
Robert, well, you want to clean up your diet.
Have the one to what?
You want to clean up your diet.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. It's addictive.
Meats, from meats to fruit is a big, big jump. I would clean up a little bit. I would slow down. I mean, that change, the transition. I would slow it down. Not from meat to fruit. I would do the vegetables. I would do even cooked vegetables. So clean up the diet. That's a big one I would work on if I were you. And yes, you want to do more dry fasting, do 2 a week, 2 days. Yeah?
Instead of the flesh, go for the baked sweet potato or baked beets, or some steamed greens. When you start getting into the flesh, they cause so much issues with emotions and hormones and all kinds of stuff. It's choice is always yours.
They're hard to digest. Yeah. All right, that's good.
Anyway, we passed the 2-hour mark. Unless you guys got any more questions, we can call it a close for tonight.
Thank you very much. No more questions.
Thank you, guys. John, we can't hear you.
He's muted.
Muted? You're muted.
Oh, I am?
Okay, now we can hear you.
All right.
All right, John, we thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yes, thank you. I'm muted for some reason. Love you guys.
Love you. Thank you so much for sharing.
We'll see.
Love you guys. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. And have a great evening or day or wherever you are.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Stay focused. Stay focused. Stay focused. Slow, steady finishes the race.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Ciao, ciao.